Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Odd Ones. I'm back with my beautiful wife, Lara, holding her little cute bear. Tell us about your bear that you got there, Lara.
Oh, I was not expecting that.
I wasn't either.
So I'll make it short. We have a path. We go into Walmart every time we go to Walmart. I hate going to Walmart, but sometimes you just got to go to Walmart. And we do the same path every time, go in on the grocery entrance. I want to know where these people.
All of them are different, though. You can't say the grocery entrance.
Well, for ours, it's the furthest away. We got to get through all of the parking lot or go on the side one. That's the better one. Back in the far corner, and we usually park in the same spaces. We're creatures of habit. Go in there, same entry.
I've been parking in that same spot since this Walmart.
Oh,
was
absolutely.
Opened back in like 2002 or 2003 or something like that.
Absolutely. We go in, take a right, go all the way down. We hit all the aisles we need to, go around the perimeter. And then the last thing, because it makes sense, the last thing you're going to hit is a grocery.
Yep.
And if you have anything cold, you got to keep it cold. Anyway, we had to backtrack. We really shouldn't have been tramping through Walmart to begin with the way that we did, but we did. And on the way back through, we had to stop by the toy section for Juliet and I. I mean, we did.
Yeah.
We had a habit we had to keep. And I'm all about keeping habits. Anyway, all of a sudden, I was ready to go. When you said you were ready to leave Walmart, I was ready to leave Walmart because you're never ready to leave. You're never like, oh, I just want to get out of here unless it's like super busy and whatever. So you call me back. I'm like on the mission path and you're like, feel this. Now, just a preface here. I like soft things, right? I like a texture. And we have a lot of stuffed animals because of the girls in the house and blankets, definitely a texture thing. I do have I have stopped. I have not bought a blanket in 6 months at least. And anyway, but they got to be soft and I can't sleep with all of them because they get hot. So, but I like the texture of them.
We need a cooling soft blanket.
Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing?
I don't know.
Well, you had me come back and feel this adorable little bear. It was actually a fox, a red panda.
Yeah, the first thing was like a red panda or something like that, and then Aaron picked up the bear.
So I was like, "Oh, that's soft. Let's go."
Yep.
And then you handed it to me.
No, actually, what happened was you were off doing something else. I handed it to Aaron.
I was leaving. I was ready to go.
No, you were going over to clearance or something.
No, we went
No,
back.
I'm telling you, you went to makeup or something.
Yeah, waiting on y'all. Like I was trying to go.
Like,
we had already been through there. Anyway,
so I handed it to Juliet, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And then I handed one to you, and then you're like, "Ugh."
It was super soft. Yep. And I touched it. And I was like, "Wow, that is soft." And I really enjoyed the texture. But we went about to buy another stuffed animal.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And then you handed it to me, and that was it. So they're weighted. Its butt is full of beans, and like it's like holding. It's the weight of a medium-sized cat, our cat.
Yep.
That doesn't run away, and it's super soft, and it's supposed to be like a weighted blanket kind of concept, I guess. So a weighted stuffed animal for like soothing. And I felt like I walked around with it like a baby and I wasn't going to get it. But then, my birthday's coming up and they're like, yeah, there's your birthday present. And so I bought it and I can't believe I bought it, first of all. But every night since then, like I caught myself on the couch, like cuddled up to this dang bear, like a little.
Well, you also said that it kind of gets warm as you hold it. And so it feels like our cat.
Yeah, it's everything I love about my cat other than the being alive part.
They can stuff your pets whenever they die?
I'm on the fence about that because I would want to pet my cat forever, but then I would be so devastated when like she didn't move. No, I can't do that. Yep. Anyway, so, and it's a bear, and I didn't know why I picked the bear because I'm not like a...
Aaron handed it to you. He's like, here.
Right, but I don't love bears.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Like the red panda was very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, if I had to get one, it would be that.
But I was drawn to the bear, and then I realized Bjorn bear. So, boom.
Yep, Bjorn means a little bear, I think. So, back
I hope you enjoyed that story.
Back to the regular intro. Welcome, like I said earlier, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff on our YouTube. But with that being said, we also have a bunch of socials. The only social that you won't find in our link tree right now, I need to update this, is Thread, and I'm pretty active on there now. I at least try to comment 3 times a
Is
day.
it Thread or Threads?
Threads.
I need to be.
By
I need to go
Instagram.
check that out. That you will find Bjorn active on Threads.
Yes.
That we talk about what you.
Yeah, I've followed. If you don't know what Threads is, it's essentially Instagram and Meta's version of Twitter, except without all the explicit stuff. As far as mine is concerned, I haven't tweaked it or anything like that. Turn off any kind of settings, but immediately I've seen a lot of creators just kind of talking back and forth, sharing videos, sharing links, and things like that. And then also,
Don't worry, Drake will be on there soon. Isn't that who did the thing?
Don't even talk about that.
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
But yeah, so I started following like therapists, marriage therapists, counselors, things like that to be better. All kind of different posts like that. And now I'm starting to get more, things that I can relate to.
Interact with.
Yeah, interact with. A lot of people. It's hard because I haven't used it like the internet like that and chat rooms and things like. And I keep on saying things like that, but I haven't used the internet in that way since probably MySpace. And
Throwback Thursday.
so I don't know how to utilize it in the way that other people do. So a lot of people will like post something and then all the comments would be like a 5-word reply. And I'm like, that's not enough context. So I'm going in there writing books. So yeah, you can find me on
If
Threads.
I have to click the more button to read your comment, it better be juicy. It better be real good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty controversial.
But that is the attention span that we have.
Yep.
Somebody was talking about that. I'm scrolling for a second, but when you talk about socials, I was watching a content creator talk about the dopamine hit that you get from just watching the first part of a video and how quickly people will scroll off, which is, I appreciate anybody who stays for our entire video because that means that you guys are awesome because we have long ones. Not today though. Today's going to be a good dopamine hit if you want some medium form content.
It is kind of funny whenever you say that though, because it's like you have everybody likes the short term stuff. It's like candy. Right, you just eat it, you get that rush and all that good stuff, and
or a bag of crisps if you don't. If you don't.
We don't live in no great England.
This is why our videos are so long because we squirrel. Yep. Anyway, continue.
So, but then there's kind of like this other side of it where it's like we just love long form stuff. Like especially, I think as soon as you hit 30 or like getting to 30,
if you've already committed that long.
No, I'm talking about like whenever you hit the age 30, it's like, all right, I'm going to listen to longer form stuff.
Or if you drive a lot.
Yep. And then one more.
You shouldn't drive and watch TikToks.
Well, you're 100% right on that. But if you do want to drive and you want to hear our content, you should be able to. Now, this is a good segue, huh?
Drum roll.
You should be able to, whenever this one posts, you'll definitely be able to listen to our podcast on YouTube via audio, but also I'm going to be putting things on not Instagram. What am I talking about? On
I don't know.
On Apple Podcast and Spotify. So you can find us there if you just want the audio versions of these podcasts. And I'm going to start from the beginning and work our way up. So,
but definitely stick with us on YouTube because that's where we talk about everything that's going on.
Yep. And this is also where we post most of our shorts and consistently post shorts on here. So, okay. Lara.
Without further ado.
Yep.
Well, I have to say one thing we don't need to go into a long or any rabbit holes on it, but I just want to point out something that happened earlier. I came home, had to work really late tonight. And when I was gone, you were cooking. We just got a new fridge, new to us.
Yeah.
It's a new fridge that's not going to,
fridge.
Yeah, made me happy.
Yep.
And, you were cooking stuff out of the other one so it didn't go bad. First of all, really appreciated that. And then
put that other chicken away though.
I already did that.
Oh, thank you.
Cut it up. Found it when I was putting something away. And you'd asked me to pick something up, and then you said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to do XYZ and I'm going to work on the fridge." Mm-hmm. And after, I don't like things out of their place, very type A when it comes to certain things. Mm-hmm. And so I was very appreciative of that. And I was already appreciative in general. I'm appreciative of everything that you do. But we had this conversation earlier about, I'd noticed, I was thinking you for all the things that you do. Sometimes I don't know if when I'm talking to them, like I want to refer to you in the third person.
Yeah, that's what I do sometimes.
And then I'm talking to you. So buckle up, whatever.
If I'm talking to them about you, I am looking directly at the camera. If I'm talking to you about you, then I'm talking to you.
But I call you Bjorn when I'm talking to them, and when I'm talking to you, say
We'll
you.
figure it out eventually.
Doesn't matter. They don't care.
Yep.
So
Maybe they do. You never know.
this is the rabbit hole we weren't supposed to go down. So I had noticed today, whether you noticed or not, I thanked you. And then I said, boy, I'd really love to get in the mind, like be able to have insight into the human mind. Because you had called me like not Lara. He always calls me Lara. Like Lara is how you address me.
Nicknames.
No pet names, no nicknames, unless it's sarcastic.
Well, yeah. Or unless you introduce yourself like, hey, I'm Bubbles, but my actual name is freaking, I don't know, Shalinda or something like that.
But the only name that comes out only names that come out that aren't Lara are LaRonda, which is my stripper name that a customer gave. I don't go by that. I don't strip unless it gets us extra. You can cut that out. Great. And then Sarah, which is my crazy alter ego. Yep. Yes, not the good one. She can hang out somewhere else.
That's also the name of the bat in Juliet's room that hangs from her little ceiling fan string.
And I'm okay with that.
And I kiss her goodnight and everything.
Oh, yeah. Then power on Sarah. I don't know what that was either. Anyway, I had noticed you calling me adoration names, like even if it was playful. Whatever you said at the pot while you were making the gluten-free gravy. They didn't need to know it was gluten-free.
Yep.
Focus there.
Focus.
So anyway, we were doing that and you'd said something and it reminded me, please, Taylor. It reminded me of the other 2 times that you had said something. And so the conversation was brought up is I wonder if it's because we have been communicating more.
We need a dog cam. We need a dog cam so they can see. It's only at 11 o'clock at night that she'll come in
or
here.
1 in the morning, whatever time it is. Okay, back to regular scheduled programming. Anyway, you had said something in adoration or playfulness to me, and my curiosity was like, what made you do that more than usual today? Like, is it because we have done a really great job at communicating? We have high five for our scores recently.
The funny thing is they won't be able to see us high-fiving.
Oh,
it's just going to be both of us putting our hands up.
You got to do the high five thing. But
what the heck does that mean?
The little high five hands. I don't know. Edit it in. You're good like that. But we have really, I think, kind of found our stride in communication. There have been a couple of times of irritation that we were able to talk that out and not have a heated or invalidating conversation.
Yep.
And you have been taking feedback when I tell you hey, I really need you to validate that. And I think that we'll do a whole podcast episode about ego, and that's the best word we got right now. But I've been able to receive that and not feel so targeted. And you said, no, I haven't done that more. And I was like, yeah, you have. I noticed that. And you're like, no, I haven't done anything differently. I think you're just being more attentive to it.
Yep.
And I thought that was a really good point because, whether one or the other or both are true, there was a point in time where I would get so fixated on those things that, just telling me, hey, you need to work on this, or giving me feedback, but it wasn't positive. And I would always say, can you balance it out, man? And it wasn't even feedback that you were giving me. It was just being affectionate. And so I just wanted to point out that sometimes in relationships, if you feel like your partner is not doing something, you may want to consider, is it that they're not doing something, or is it that you're focused on the negative? And that's kind of, speaking of threads, you were talking about a post that you'd seen where the woman was saying, with some insert meme here face, is having a husband like having another child.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it depends on how you look at it. Some people would say, yes, like, oh, he's just a man child. I think that it is absolutely okay. And I appreciate your childlike nature. Like, you can get in there and hang out with the kids on their level. Not that I can't, but you're the fun one. And now it's on public record.
Well, with that, just talking about are the men like kids? If now, obviously, there's extremes to both. If a man literally is doing nothing and
Or gaming all day,
or just watching TV or whatever, sure, that's a negative, and y'all need to have a conversation about that, and not in an attacking way, but in a calm, hey, I'm coming to you not with a problem, but with something that I just want to discuss with you conversation.
Right.
But if you're somebody like me who does do their part and is the leader, whenever you're doing those, childlike things, farting on you or playing video games or whatever, that's me being vulnerable.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the second part to that, and I guess that maybe I just had a different perspective, really thinking about it all those other ways, because I do appreciate the vulnerability. And that's another podcast for another time. I said I wasn't going to, drink soda water on the stream, but
here we
are. Not sponsored by, but would be happy to be Waterloo.
Or death by water.
In any of this, not any of the soda waters. They are not all created equal. But I was thinking about our dynamic, our relationship. So I get a lot of enjoyment. Not like woohoo, but a lot of satisfaction, and gratification out of serving you. Mm-hmm. And so, if I were to tell somebody, yeah, my husband doesn't pick up his trash, he doesn't put away his dishes, he doesn't put away his dirty clothes, he doesn't even fold his own clothes or wash his own clothes. Yep. He leaves his stuff laying around. Some people would be like, what a lazy piece of crap. I don't want you to. Yep. When you do it, is it appreciated? Sure. But if you ever started like washing your own laundry, and I definitely resonate with Peaches on To Be Better, about the servitude that she provides for her husband. I think she even said something about the laundry one time. You've watched way more of them than I have, and I've tried to play catch up, but they just cranking them out anyway. Or if you were to eat dinner and wash your own plate, or I don't mind you making your own plate if you're doing that, but I like serving you. But it would seem like, depending on the context you took it, that, it's like those are things you would do for a child. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have a teenager, you would expect something different. But
just some context to that is everything that you just mentioned is something that I've had to learn to do. Mm-hmm. Meaning letting go of these different things. Right. Because whenever we first met, I was essentially a single parent. I did my own laundry, washed dishes, did all the housework and stuff like that.
Dad and Mr. Mom.
Yep. And you're like, and this is much later, like within the last couple of years, where you're like, let me take your plate and wash it for you. Let me do XYZ for you. Not saying that you didn't, but, doing it.
Almost always served your dinner and took your plate, but.
Well, not taking the plate part. There was a long time, like that specific thing where you're like, I'm going to do that, is relatively recent, within the last year or two. And that was definitely a learned behavior. And like now I'll sit at the bar and still reflexively speaking, I'm like, I'm going to get up and do this. And I'm like, no, she wants to do that.
Right.
And it's hard for me to wrap my mind around it, because I don't necessarily want to clean up. We'll clean up after you, same kind of deal, but I don't want to clean up after the kids or something, and so I don't want to put that extra burden on you. But like I said, and it's all about, guys, what we're talking about here, you have to read the room. If your wife has had a long day, like you had a long day, I don't expect you.
Oh my God.
I don't expect you to come home and wash my dishes that I made.
I will tell you, when I came out of the shower, and I wasn't taking extensively long, because I said, hey, when I'm out of the shower, I'll take care of the kitchen, because you did, even though I was working, you did take care of everybody's meal, including mine. Like I had.
No, you did that. You kept McDonald's for them.
Oh, okay. Well, you made other stuff, right?
Yeah,
You fried the ice cream.
Yeah.
So you did things.
People are like, what the hell?
Right?
You talking about fried ice cream? You can get fried ice cream. I'm not going to give you the recipe. It's just cornflakes and ice cream.
I'm not going to give you the recipe.
Here it
It's
is.
just cornflakes and ice cream.
Well, there's a lot more to it, but I'm not going to get
That's
into
another
it.
podcast.
That's another person's YouTube channel.
Right? Google it.
Come back to Odd Ones Cooking with Bjorn and Lara.
That would be a 5-hour-long podcast with Lara if I was at the helm. I'm getting better. Anyway,
a different kitchen for that.
all that to say, I had a long day, but I was hyped. I was ready. I had zero disdain for having to clean up because, that's interesting now that I reflect on it, because I was super excited to, serve you. Like I was so grateful at the fact that like I couldn't eat my dinner. It was so hot.
Yep.
And the fact that you had done all that you had done and made that for us. So anyway, you were talking about the dishes, and I know I interrupted.
What?
But, okay.
No,
I thought I interrupted a thought. At least I'm self-aware.
You're just interrupting your own thoughts.
You're not wrong. Anyway, I mean, now that I think about it, you're right as far as the being adamant about washing your plate. And I don't take it as a barometer of, oh, there's something wrong. But I don't know the last time that you've had to wash your own laundry unless I was sick.
But you should, because, and I'm not talking about whenever you're sick, because you hit the nail on the head earlier. The only time that, like, if I'm getting out of the shower or whatever, I'm going to get my clothes and take them and put them in the dirty laundry. But you are pretty good about like picking up my clothes whenever we go to bed and put them in the dirty laundry. And again, that's one of those things that I had to kind of learn, that you're going to do that. But there are certain times, and this is really, the clothes thing isn't a good example, but there are certain times where, okay, you're kind of taking a while to get this task done. I'm going to do that.
Sure.
So that is a barometer of, I don't want to say success because that's kind of extreme, but of, what you're doing, I guess. That's the best term I have for it. But
I know when you ask me for soda water, and it is always, not sometimes, it is always my ADHD that brain takes over, and I'm literally rabbit holed somewhere, whether in thought or action. And I was like, oh crap. When I see you come back with that soda water, or I hear that, I'm like, oh no, failure. But I'm more talking about like,
there's very seldomly is there anything like those things, because I see all that stuff. It's kind of like favors that you're doing for me, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, she didn't give me a soda water, like, screw her. It's like, all right, I'll get my own. She's doing other things. I can hear it, throughout the house. It's okay. And that's part of just being patient with you, with your ADHD and things like that, and just being patient, human to human, being patient with you. But there are certain things, and I do make those clear, like tonight with the refrigerator. Hey, I need you to grab this door. It's going to fall. So please do that now.
And what I think was really cool about that is you only asked me to grab the door. And I did leave the stove on. Again, thank you for always having my back.
Reference real quick, because y'all don't know what the heck we're talking about. Whenever we got this refrigerator, you can swap which side the door opens on. That's what we're doing.
Yes. So normally I would have tried to go back to my task, but I saw that you were doing that, and I was like, oh, I can do this with him. And so we completed, I left the stove on and everything, didn't even complete cooking my food for tomorrow. Our food for tomorrow, before I'd stop to help you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about, I need to get back to that. But I would definitely think there would be something wrong if you all of a sudden started taking and washing your plate, and then you were washing your own laundry. I'd be like, all right, now there's a problem. And I appreciate you unlearning that. And so those little things are ways that, I like to serve you, and paying attention to the positive is a whole lot easier. when it's really bad tonight, guys. We have a runaway cat, and all the animals want to talk when we're in here. But go ahead.
You probably will barely be able to hear it.
Oh, okay. Just hearing things.
Go ahead.
What cat?
You were talking.
I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna keep on calling you Bert from Two Bears One Cave. That was a funny.
So, on to the podcast, and now that we've eaten, eaten 30 minutes into a short idea, talking about being connected and talking about paying attention.
Those books there.
Paying attention to the positive. I just have a stack of books here. One of them may seem familiar to you guys, but I'm just going to share these with you. This is a few of the ones that we've been using, but we talk about in previous episodes about being in communication and having things to talk about, and how sad it is that some couples just don't have conversation.
Yep.
And sometimes it is hard when you've lived together for, I don't know that we've ever encountered this problem, but in previous relationships and in, just hearing people's experiences, sometimes finding something to talk about. I'm sure after 35, 40 years, maybe unless you have a spawn off of something, you've talked about everything and you're kind of morphing and growing together. So I would hope that would keep you connected. But let's say you're having a hard time. I would strongly suggest getting a book. And they have tons of books, and we're going to give you guys a sample of this one just because I think it'd be fun. Something a little lighthearted, maybe. I don't know. I haven't read through all of it.
This is you talking about, just talking and learning to speak to one another made me reflect on this. I think there's a lot of people out there that aren't exactly deep thinkers per se, especially trying to learn to talk with somebody else, aka their spouse. It's going to be something just like we were talking about, something they're going to have to either learn or relearn and really work towards, because a lot of people do deal with just surface level stuff like
shallow end of the pool.
Yeah, just I did this at work. Oh, this is the freaking Brett Michaels was on TV, his date show was on TV or whatever, and kicking it back to 2007.
And there's nothing wrong with that if it works for you guys.
Yeah, but then that's all you're talking about.
But if two people don't want to talk about, is there the existence of aliens, or does one conversation spawn off into 80 different things? Some people don't have that inner dialogue. And where I've thought 100 thoughts literally in a span of a minute. Mm-hmm. So I've got plenty to talk about.
But what are the chances that two people are going to be that same way versus one person who is actually a deep thinker, and then the other one is the surface level thing, but they're a couple, and now they don't, the one that's a deep thinker doesn't want to offend, they're overthinking now. And they don't want to offend their partner by being like, "Hey, can we talk about this?" Or their partner's been like, "Oh yeah, you're talking to."
The chances are 1 in 650,000.
Wow, I had no idea.
I know.
Where'd you pull that?
The more you
from?
know. I don't know. I just made that up.
Yeah,
clearly. Well, I'm sure that there's a balance of it, and who are we to know? Yeah. And I would assume that if that's the case, if your significant other was not someone who, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad thing, that maybe that is how they grew up, or maybe that's just how their brain's wired, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if the person that you're with, maybe they aren't into having what if conversations, or making up dialogue of other people in their head, or those kind of more than surface level thoughts, it can be hard to I'll give you a prime example. Can I show them the books?
Sure.
Okay. So, we've definitely talked about this one on the podcast.
Let me share this real quick just to sum up, finish my thought, which is
you do that? I didn't know.
These are good books to allow you guys to train your mind into asking those questions and really delving in to conversation.
Right. Good point that I interrupted. So this is the Us Journal. We've talked about this. All of these books were actually picked up at Barnes and Noble, great bookstore. But you can order them online. This one I was floored at how much it was on Amazon. So I would suggest going into the Barnes and Noble, like their price break section.
Yeah. The clearance section.
And this one's really great. And it breaks it down. This one breaks it down into sections. But then I found the Me Journal, which I super love. I want to get you one of these.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
This one is not broken into sections. And for those of us with the ADHD, I will tell you that it can be really hard when they start segmenting into like your childhood. And then every question is based on your childhood. And like, I'm tired of about writing that. This is not linear whatsoever. It goes like, what's your blood type? And then what's your fondest memory of a child? And what is your fear if you were on a mountaintop? I don't know if it really says that, but really love this one. So that.
I just love the art. Like show them the back there. Yeah.
Cool. And they're collectible, obviously, and this would be a great keepsake to give to your children. Sure. Not maybe the Us Journal. Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But probably not the naughty section. Tear those pages out.
No, let them see it. Let them see that, and let them see your
traumatize your children for life.
Let them see your search history whenever you die.
That would be interesting. Anyway, but I really love these because you can go back and reflect, and it helps you. I mean, you can go back and reflect on how much you've changed as well. And I think it would be super romantic. Oh no, I said it so enthusiastically, but if you were to pick up one of these and then give it to your spouse, like that, this is the Bjorn book, you know? Yep. So those are two great ones, and it's obviously by the same author. I guess it's the author, the same publisher, and they look really good on the bookshelf. So those are two.
Let me see. I just want to see if I can find the author while you're looking at the other thing.
And then here's another one. Like if you want, this one's kind of repetitive. Obviously, we've used this. It's been loved. 3,000 questions about me, and it's not. I mean, after you hit 3,000 questions, you're going to repeat yourself. And some of them are as silly as like, what is your favorite actor beginning with the letter K? Like, that one's
not my favorite. Once we got into it, it's kind of like tedious. By the way, the Me Journal, Shane Windham. The other one, no author that I can find. It's dots and then nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, the 3,000, I think that would be a good teen.
What if that's their name?
What, quadruple dots?
Yeah.
But the 3,000 question, that would be fun, like pick it up every once in a while, you know, throw a question at your spouse or throw a question at your teen or something like that and kind of talk about that a little bit. But not the most thought-provoking long-term compared to the Us journals. What are you looking for?
That was a quote.
What?
Not the author, Shane Windham.
Windham?
It was a quote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Maybe not, because it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Anyway, you can find them. They were printed specifically for Barnes and Noble BT Dubs. And like you said, this isn't my favorite, but it was the only one that we had really seen at the time, and we enjoyed it. And the reason this book is so loved is because our kids enjoyed it and used it to, talk to friends, boyfriends, whatever.
I would say if you can't find the Us Journal or something like that, just get one of those and kind of start with that.
Yep. This one is really special to me. And this is A Father's Life. I Want to Know Everything About You. My dad, this is why I got that from my dad. And I also bought you one. And we started that. Juliet's supposed to ask you. I'm going to be doing that to give to the kids. And my dad, I knew, would not fill it out. So if you have a spouse who's kind of like, I'm not into that mumbo jumbo, not saying my dad was that way, but maybe they wouldn't sit down and fill it out, ask them the questions. And just side tangent real quick. Yeah, I asked him, like the sticky notes here are for questions that he didn't really have answers to, or things that he was like, 1-word answers, 2-word answers. But what I found, my dad's the strong silent type. very
Stoic.
very stoic, and does his thing. He has this fishing buddy, but outside of that, he's a loner. And when we first started the book, it was just like I said, what did your parents tell you about your birth? Nothing. That was his answer. What was one of them? What were your 5 most memorable experiences from your childhood? And he gave me 3. So it wasn't like he had a terrible life, but like he was a boring fella, admittedly. But as we've gotten through the book, he's opened up, and I have found out things about my dad I never knew.
Wow.
And the Us Journal kind of did the same thing. But this is fantastic. You can give it to your kids. You can find out more about your spouse at the same time. And here's a pro tip. If you are doing this and you can't keep up with the other person, like it was in the beginning, I started filling it out, but like there's a lot of words on that page, right? Oh, this one is yours. There's a lot of words on this page. And so I couldn't keep up with my dad, and he would get like, all right, is that it? I'm ready to go. Sometimes I can get him to answer a number of questions. Then record the conversation, and then you can go back and transcribe it. And so now I forever have my dad's voice answering these questions, and I can transcribe it.
And cherish that too. Because here's another thing. I don't want to say pro tip because it's not really, I don't really want to joke about it, but, you don't know how long your dad's going to be around. You've had a blessed life with your dad where he's been around for a while. He's been there all your life, where me and my dad wasn't around at all in my childhood. And then he died whenever I was 16, 17 years old. And I have no recordings of his voice. There used to be some VHS that I had with his voice on it, but now I don't have that. And then Brian, my stepdad, I have a couple of voicemails of his, but no like definitive tapes or anything like that with it. And then same thing with my papa. I have like a couple of voicemails from him, but nothing really substantial. And it's crazy because whenever you lose somebody, you really do forget how their voice sounds. Like probably about a year, maybe 3 years after Brian passed away, I listened to one of those voicemails. I just happened upon it, and I barely understood him because he had such a southern drawl. I barely understood him. I hardly even knew it was him.
Right.
Because I haven't heard his voice in so long. So cherish those. Do what Lara says. Record. If you can, have a sit-down interview with your dad if they're willing, and listen to
iPhones has a great record option, and it tells the other party, don't try and sneak into it, because it said this call will be recorded, and then it beep, and then when you get a certain period of time, it beeps again. So it just reminds you it's still being recorded. This call is no longer being recorded. That's how it ends. All you sneaky sneaks out there. One of the things I really enjoyed, not that Dad asked, but that I started doing is as he started telling me his experiences, I was like, oh, well, this is how, I was sharing with him about myself. And then like in the me journal, there is a this and that section. And it was just like random, like we were talking about something and then this and that. And like one of the things was werewolf or vampire or hot or cold, and it doesn't give any context, so you kind of have to decide for yourself. Like he said, you mean drinks? And I was like, no, Dad. And it was like wine or beer and wine or liquor or whatever. He's like, well, wine. I was like, what do you know about wine? He surprised me. But the funniest was like werewolf or vampire. And both he and my mom, because I called her and had to say werewolf, like they had been waiting for that question to come up in their lives.
You need to get a mother's life.
I do. I just gave it to her. Yeah.
Good.
So his is the black, hers is pink. And my mom does like to write, and she does enjoy that kind of stuff. So I gave it to her. And I said, please do this for me. And they're both retired, but it's a great way to bond.
Yeah.
So on to a few questions from this. And then I'll revisit the books again.
I don't remember seeing this one.
So we answered some of them in Barnes and Noble, and then I impulse bought this. So a lot of these books are impulse buys, and I found that I could not be happier that we've done this. Now, if you have one of those manly men who are like, whatever about it, this is like this is macho. It's got like a nice, almost leathery feel to it. Yep. Truly a keepsake. Even the Us journal, I mean, the red and black make it kind of inconspicuous, but it does have some like frilly design to it. This one's kind of straightforward. Mm-hmm. Looks like your moleskin. Yeah, yep. Moleskin thing. Like, the contents are real, I guess, manly, depending on what era you come from. Mountains and some more mountains, which this is a really cool cover, by the way.
Yeah, I love that.
I wouldn't necessarily like present your husband with this one. Like it's kind of frou-frou. I mean, maybe he's into butterflies and that now that I look at it, it was a heart and they're bursting out of the heart. And yeah, it's feminine.
See, I'm such a person where it's like, if you give it to me and you want me to fill it out, I'll just, okay. I just don't have that machismo, as they say.
What?
You never heard that machismo?
Clearly not. By the what?
I've heard it a lot recently, but yeah, machismo. It's just like macho, like that gusto.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Like two guys hanging out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like look how tough I am," kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of machismo. Okay. I just don't have that.
Are you trolling me right now?
What do you mean?
Like, are you making this up because you do that and you sell me on
No. I'm telling things. You.
Okay.
Like literally, I heard it today. I was listening to Soft White Underbelly, and they were talking about these. It was a police officer, and he's like, "Yeah, a lot of these other police officers have a lot of machismo to them." Yep.
You learn something new every day. Another thing that just, if you do have a husband who is not as a willing of a participant, skip the introduction. Like this one starts off with Sonnet 43 by Elizabeth Barrett Browning said it best. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Unfortunately, not all of us can be as eloquent as her words, though. Some of us can, Mr. Bjorn. But you don't have to do any of that. So, this has, much like the Us Journal, there's a question and then there's a me and you section. Mm-hmm. And all I did was kind of flip through like the questions and was like, oh, this is something I had never asked him before. Yep. And when we got about 3 questions in, I was like, all right, we're getting this, because this would be fun to talk about in the podcast. So, yep. And then I was really disappointed because while we're recording, I can't write it down. And then the aha moment hit earlier that we're like recording it and yep. transcribing it. So,
hold on one more second.
Yeah.
One thing, this just hit me. One thing, if you have a guy who doesn't really want to do this, right? Y'all both go into the bookstore. You say, I'm going to pick out one of these journals. Help me pick it out. And as kind of a reward for that, something that we can still do together. And this is going to sound like a joke. I can't say it without a smile. I'm not joking. Let's go over to the Kama Sutra. And if you answer 5 of these, we can try out 5 of these, and make it fun, make it a game, kind of thing.
Right. Or you can just be like, if your guys, what a sutra, I'm just thinking of like the manly, like, I'm trying to think of the polarities. Like,
I mean, obviously can go to the book and just say sex positions,
yeah.
Because they have those.
Or fill out 5 and I'll go home and thank you for it later, And if that's not your cup of tea, maybe you're getting these books because you've lost the spark.
Yeah.
Just think of something like, you can go, I don't know, fishing for an hour or whatever. Yeah. Yep. You can always take something and make it fun. Mm-hmm. And, if you are, before I get into the question, if you are struggling in your relationship and you're watching this maybe for some ideas on how to, better communicate. If you're struggling with, feeling like, okay, I don't think this is going to work, or that you're preparing to, like I'm done. I don't want to be in this relationship. Mm-hmm. Like, I suggest just give it all you got. And that might mean, just bending a little bit I would really like to, I'm putting it out there into the ether and you can cut it out if you want to. One of our next episodes to be like our journey to here. Because what you guys see is, and if you go back in previous podcasts, you could probably tell a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But the evolution of us, we've worked really hard to get here. And it's not like we ever, I don't even say we didn't lose our spark, but there have been definitely times of struggle.
Yep.
But the fluidity and the closeness, us playing footsies off camera, all that stuff has definitely become much stronger through the work that we're doing.
Yep.
So,
just another example of like something going back to the whole, like, if he isn't really, I got a burp. Sorry. So if your guy is not as willing to do one of these, maybe, just maybe, while you're in the bookstore, right? And this is a non-sexual thing. If you do this book with me, we can go get a manga. Like maybe if you're with a nerdy guy, and I say nerdy like I'm not a nerd, but you're like, we'll go get a manga. We'll do a couple of these. You read a couple, like a chapter of the manga. We'll do a couple more, and vice versa. And maybe you can convince me to like anime, or get into a new anime or a new manga,
And gentlemen, if you're watching this and you want to really, I think I put it very much into like women are into this kind of stuff and men aren't. But you're definitely a willing participant in this. And let's say your lady is like, I don't like to do any of that stuff. I think it'd be a nice gesture to do some of this for her, but you can incorporate these into your everyday conversation. It doesn't have to be you sitting down and reading a book. Like even if you come in here and cut out like, okay, one of the things we answered was about a kiss or something. Let's just say, I remember our first kiss, it was XYZ. Cut it out, put it in your pocket. This is for men, women, doesn't matter. And then next time you're sitting at the dinner table, just say, you know what? I was just thinking, do you remember our first kiss?
Yep.
What were your memories of it? And I'll share mine.
Yep.
And don't make it sound like you're baiting them either. Like, do you remember our first kiss? Because that's a trap if I've ever heard one. So there's pro tip.
One last pro tip, and then we can move into the book. For the guys, say you're driving by or you're like going to the mall and you're going through Books A Million, and you're like, oh man, maybe I should pick something up for me and my girl to do together, or whatever. Pick one of these up. That would make her feel so special, knowing that not only did you think of her, but you want to know more about her.
Right.
Yep. That's pretty smooth operator.
I love you so much.
Are you gonna get into it?
I was just thinking.
Keep on with the awkward silence?
I can't wait to watch this episode back, because either I had a whole dialogue in my head, or you just regurgitated what I was trying to say in a much more eloquent way.
What do you mean?
Because I'm pretty sure, like, surprise your wife with one of these, but you really like nailed the words I wanted to say.
Oh, well, there we go. Yeah.
Great minds think alike. All right. Oh, and there's a drawing one of this. I want to us draw this blindly, and then like, can we come
blindly?
back? Next step.
Blindfolded?
I will put sticky notes over mine, and then you could draw yours. So the question, I was looking for a question to wind this up with, just to give them an example. It says, this is my impression of you in the morning, draw below. I would love for us to do that in next episode.
Oh, I already know what it would be. Do you?
No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And I'm going to do yours.
Can I just tell y'all?
I don't even know what you're doing. I'm already laughing.
Was this the other day? I get up. I'm getting ready. I'm getting all spiffy over here.
Oh my God. I didn't think about that.
I'm feeling the fizz, getting all up. And I hear this woman. Her alarm goes off. And I said, Lara, it's time to wake up. And I hear this woman say, hey, I can't say the assistant's name. Hey, assistant, set a 2-minute timer. What are you doing in 2 minutes? You can't even get a good little.
I was
in.
taking it. No, that's not true. There are so many times that 2 minutes is just enough. Like I can fall right back asleep, but you're cackling over there. I was like, well, forget the
I
timer.
couldn't help it. It was so funny. Man, 2 minutes is just enough to get pissed off. That's all that is.
Not for me. I need every
That's what
precious
she
moment.
said too.
That was golden. Golden. That one should be on a plaque somewhere. That was good. All right, so I had one, and I think I flipped past it. There's so many good ones. We'll do a fun one, and then we'll do one that you have to think, because I know your quick-wittedness will get this one. I found two of them. Question 29 and 30 for those of you following along with the class. These will be quick, and then we'll wrap up the podcast.
Sounds good.
When I am sick, I always feel better when you.
Whenever I'm desperately sick, like whenever I'm dying, whenever you turn the AC on and put a little cold towel on me, and then leave me alone.
I know you go in there to die. Leave me be.
Yeah.
I created that monster.
I'm like Jesus. I go in there, die for 3 days, and then I'm back again.
You know what? Chaps my ass
What?
is the fact that we will have been
Cold
cohabitating.
breeze on a crisp December night.
You're not wrong. We will have been cohabitating up until the point that it is confirmed illness.
Yeah.
Like, I just kissed you. And then 30 seconds later, I'm like, oh, I do have a fever. And you're like, you're right, you do. I don't want to get sick. And then you like deuce out. Like,
Hey,
sayonara, sucker.
Hey, when was the last time I was sick?
But we just swapped spit for like 30 seconds before that. But no.
When was the last time I was sick?
Maybe all of your allergies were actually sickness.
Yep. Well, they weren't.
You have a much better immune system than I do.
You
Okay,
just keep on with the excuses, but I'm telling you what it is. I just get away from the illness.
And then how do I make you feel better when you're sick is the opposite. So when I'm sick, I always feel better when you come to make sure I'm alive.
Yep.
AKA, actually, you take excellent care of me when I'm sick. The thing that I have to say I really appreciate is the fact that I don't wake up afraid of what am I going to wake up to.
Yeah.
Like some ladies and gentlemen, when their significant other is ill, know that there will be fallout. Like the laundry will have been piled up. The floor is going to be dirty. Now the kids, I don't even remember which kids snitched on you, but they're like, no, it's a disaster until like right when you're starting to get better.
Nuh-uh.
Somebody said that. I can't remember which kid.
Liar.
Like dishes will be piled up until you. Now I know that
pisses me off so bad because I'm in there every single day. What they see is they come in here and fuck everything up, and then whenever
hadn't cussed the whole podcast,
and then whenever they go to bed, guess who's cleaning it? Me. That lying son of a gun.
I don't even know which one it was. So you can be mad at all of them. Don't go questioning them. This is this is like Vegas. This is like sanctity in here.
Anyway.
Okay.
Assholes.
The questions, I feel like this is
and all their rooms are dirty. Come on.
Right. This is a trap here because it's, I owe you an apology for, and then the rebuttal is, do you owe me an apology for anything?
I don't like that.
That isn't how it's said, but I'm going to do this one, and that's how we're going to end it off. Circling back around. This is like the paragraphs they teach you to write, the 5 paragraph essays. I owe you an apology for all the times that I was asking for more of you in areas not like acts of service or things like that. And you were giving all that you had while I was being Sarah, and that I didn't notice the little things. So I owe you an apology for that. Now, do you owe me an apology for anything?
Not with that attitude. Yeah, for all the times that I've been an asshole without apologizing for it afterward. I'm sorry for that.
Well, that was good. See, you guys get these candid moments that I love doing this podcast, even if nobody watches it. Like it's my favorite because I know you're not just up here. This is the real part of it where you're not just up here saying things. Like the camera doesn't turn off and he's like, I take that back. I didn't really mean that. We cut things that are just like,
I don't cut much. The only thing that I cut is like dogs interrupting.
I'll tell you, there was a period in time where there was just unused episodes because I had an attitude and took things very bright. Like I was working out some demons in here, or you would say something the wrong way and it would just get under my. Usually 99% of the unused footage is my fault. I owe you an apology for that too. So anyway. All right. So, like I said, you guys can get it literally every single one of these books, discount rack at Target, nothing over $10.
Not Target. Barnes and Noble.
That one.
Don't try to find the Us Journal, the Me Journal. I don't know about the other three, but those two specifically on Amazon because they're like $20, $30.
Right.
It's kind of stupid how.
Well, it's printed, and now I understand why they printed it specifically for Barnes and Noble. I don't know why I'm touching.
I just know that somebody. Maybe we can leave some links to Barnes and Noble. See if they have them.
Right. That'd be dope. Yep. Just throwing it out there. If books aren't your thing, find something.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic game series called Hunt a Killer. It's just a box and you get clues in it and you're trying to figure out, like, hunt the killer. Yep. They have them sometimes on clearance.
Also, Hunt a Killer, if you want to sponsor this video, we are available.
Oh, what I'd like to do is when we can go live, I would love to sit down and like you guys play with us because, throw in your 2 cents. Oh, no, you should do this, or this. It is an excellent game. I was kind of mad that you were so into it and like dove in and you were like, oh, well, was this. I was like, let me catch up. I don't have all the evidence. Super fun. Ladies, go fishing with your man. I don't know what I'm thinking about my dad, I guess. Go fishing with your man. Even if you sit there and look pretty and, read a book, be with them or hook a worm. I know that creeps some people out.
I don't do that.
No, I hook the worms and I can't believe you admitted that.
No. Why? My papa and brother used to scare the crap out of me with them whenever I was like 2.
Trauma.
So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. I don't like how they feel my hands or nothing. Another thing is, for guys, go window shopping without bitching, without saying, I'm ready to go home. I hate this, all this other stuff. Just go. All your woman wants you to do is say, put something on. How does this look? Looks great on you. I'm not saying a lie. If something doesn't look good, I'll tell Laura straight up. If it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good. I'm not going to want to watch you in it, And
sometimes I'll wear it despite that.
Yep, like boots or high heel shoes.
He doesn't mind combat boots, though.
Yeah, no, those are good. But, just go window shopping with her. Go walking around, get some frozen yogurt or something, hang out,
Something I think my dad... Mom and Dad, I don't know if you guys ever watch this. I hope some of the content you don't, but if my dad likes YouTube. Yeah. But if you guys watch this, I think
can guarantee he's not watching his daughter and son-in-law talking about relationship stuff.
Maybe not. Drop a comment below though if you do. He watched the other podcast, but that was community related. Anyway, I really love that this works for them, right? They spent so much time doing their own thing that it's almost like they're at that stage in their relationship where if like dad's in the house, mom's like, go back. And he never comes in because he likes being in his shed. And if my mom goes out there, you got anybody, unless there's a project, has about 5 minutes in my dad's shed before he's like, time to go. And he just likes his solitude. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But my mom likes to shop. She likes to thrift. They have their own little path in St. Augustine. And my dad will just wait in the car and wait for as long as it takes her to go in. And she doesn't have anxiety about it. When you have had to wait in the car for some or another reason, I think that's
some reason or another.
That one.
Yep.
I immediately am like, feeling guilty. And I know that you will find something to entertain yourself, but whatever it is, just find something, do it together, find a way to bridge that gap. But these are great conversation starters and might rekindle some of the things that got you together in the first place. If you find yourself writing terrible things to a prompted, cute answer, resentment.
Yep. Going back to what you were talking about with like, shopping and fishing and stuff like that. If you know that your partner doesn't like that, but you're trying to do something to kind of compromise, like I'm just using shopping for an instance. I don't like Goodwill. You know that.
Or Aldi.
I don't mind Aldi. I just don't like Goodwill. Just my grandma used to shop there all the time, and I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. I don't like sifting.
Don't make me bait the worms of going to Goodwill.
I don't like sifting through other people's crap, but I'll go there with you. Sometimes I'll find little knick-knack paddywhacks to give a dog bone in the electronics and stuff like that. But if I had my choice, I would not be in Goodwill. That being said, you know that. You're not going to make me stay there all the time.
Right.
You have 2 wonderful girls that would love to go and spend all day at Goodwill with you. But there's times where, if we're out and about, you say, hey, can we go to Goodwill? Yeah. And I'll go in there with you. You're not going to hold me there forever. We'll look around for a little bit. You'll look at clothes. I'll look at electronics, and then we'll leave.
This is how I know that it's time when I hear, all right. Whatever's coming after, all right, your timer is up on it. All right. That's how I know I'm doing too much. You were talking about, and this is where you put in the closeout music. Be sure you follow us on socials.
I was done.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, know yourself as well.
I want you to start up the closing out music and then stop it and then start it up again.
Yeah. Know yourself, because if you are an anxious person and you're going and doing this as a compromise for your partner, saying, okay, I'm going to go shopping with my partner. I have a hard time in crowds. She knows that. I know that. We both know that. Then you can kind of feel yourself out. Like if you start feeling the anxiety coming up, just be like, hey, I'm not rushing. Take your time. I'll tell you whenever it gets a little bit closer, but I'm feeling a little bit anxious. And then that will be her cue to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go and do the things that I really wanted to do and go get those done. And then by then, both of you will be ready to go.
Or like with us, I knew when your timer was up last time we went to Goodwill for our anniversary. That was a special occasion, and you already weren't feeling so hot.
Yep.
And I could tell. I was like, why don't you just go sit in the car? Like I was totally okay. You go rest, do your thing, and I'll sit in here. And then I found you a treasure.
Yep.
And I think too that's important, because what you don't want to do when you're out with somebody, especially in those kind of circumstances specifically, is make it unenjoyable for the other person. Like if you are going with me to Goodwill and the whole time you're like, sign, just like, I don't want to be here. I hate everything about this. I can assure you that even if you showed up, I'd much rather just not go, because not that you do that. But it is not a pleasant experience. Same thing, like if you were doing the book, like at the whole time, you're like, how many more? Do I really, are we almost done? Like, be present instead of thinking and even if you have to set a time limit on it.
I just try to make things enjoyable. Even if it means like, if I go to Goodwill and I'm just cracking jokes about everything, like I see this, a little statue and it's like going, and I'm like, oh, look, the statue's going.
We do that through places we like.
Yeah, like at Marshalls and stuff like that. So, make the experience fun. Not everything has to be grumpy. You don't have to be grumpy.
Right.
Life is too short to be grumpy all the time. Have fun.
I can tell you. That's a fact. I don't even know what my outro was going to be because it was so good. So yeah, that whether it's a book, doesn't matter what it is, just take a moment. I wish I could go back in time, like rewind. You can cut that.
Nope.
So anyway, guys, I'm done here. Clearly. Thanks for joining us on, I'm sure, not such a short podcast episode. So I'm a liar, pants on fire. I'm sure this is well over 30 minutes.
I thought I smelled something burning.
But yeah, giving them a shot. Give them a shot. Spend time together.
Yep.
And
Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the good stuff like I mentioned before. Follow us. And also, I forgot to mention this earlier. Don't forget to email if you have any kind of questions or answers that you
Have
want.
you checked that recently?
Yeah, within the last week or so.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Why, did you forget?
Yep.
Okay, that's okay. I'll
I
check
just
it whenever I
confessed
get
that
done.
to you.
So until next time, stay a little odd.
Because we are.